Have you ever sat in your favorite chair, looked out the window, and wondered, where did everyone go? The once busy life filled with gatherings, phone calls, and friendly visits now feels quieter. Maybe you've even asked yourself, do I still need friends the way I used to? It's a powerful question, one that many people begin to ask once they cross the age of 70. Society often tells us that staying social is the key to happiness. We're bombarded with messages that say, make more friends, join more groups, and stay active with others. But what if, just what if, the real key to joy at this stage of life isn't about having more friends, but about having more peace? What if embracing your independence, your solitude, and your own company could bring you the deepest sense of fulfillment? In this video, we're going to talk about something bold. We'll share 6 powerful reasons why you may no longer need friends in the traditional sense after 70, and how stepping into independence can actually lead to a richer, happier, and more meaningful life. This isn't about pushing people away or isolating yourself. No, this is about giving yourself permission to evolve, to prioritize yourself, and to live on your terms. So grab a warm cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's explore this journey together. Reason 1. True peace comes from within. At 70 and beyond, life starts to offer a new kind of gift, the gift of reflection. You've spent decades building relationships, raising a family, working hard, and trying to meet the expectations of others. But now, you begin to realize something very important. True peace doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. In our younger years, we often seek validation from others. We rely on friendships to feel seen, to feel loved, to feel important. We fill our days with social gatherings, phone calls, events, and conversations, believing that connection is the key to happiness. But after 70, many people discover a different truth, that joy can live in silence and peace can be found in solitude. There is a calm that comes with no longer needing to be understood by others. You begin to understand yourself. You start to listen to your own thoughts more carefully. Mornings become moments of stillness instead of rush. Afternoons can be enjoyed with a good book, a short nap, or a peaceful walk. And evenings? They're not lonely. They're yours to reflect, to relax, and to simply be. True peace is not the absence of people. It's the presence of contentment in your own heart. It's knowing you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to meet anyone's expectations. When you embrace this mindset, you find that the quiet moments are no longer empty. They are full of meaning. You're not missing out on anything. In fact, you're finally tuning in to what really matters. And what's more powerful than that? What's more fulfilling than feeling at home within yourself? This doesn't mean you don't love people or enjoy the company of others. It simply means that your happiness is no longer dependent on external relationships. You don't need to chase friendships to feel whole. You're already whole. As you age, you realize that inner peace isn't just a concept, it's a choice. It's a lifestyle. It's a gift you give yourself. And once you find it, you'll guard it. You'll prioritize it. Because nothing feels better than waking up in the morning and knowing, deep down, that you are enough. And that's the kind of peace no friendship can give you, because it's the peace that lives only in your heart. Reason 2. Less drama, more clarity. After 70, something remarkable happens. Your tolerance for drama begins to vanish. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's one of the greatest blessings of aging. Think about it. How many times in your past did you find yourself caught in the middle of gossip, hurt feelings, broken promises, or emotional entanglements? At the time, it might have felt necessary, maybe even normal. But looking back, it's easy to see how much stress and emotional chaos it caused. As you grow older, you begin to value peace over popularity. You no longer feel the need to be in every conversation, respond to every message, or be involved in every gathering. That isn't isolation, that's freedom. The beauty of this stage is that you can finally say no without guilt and yes without fear. You don't get dragged into unnecessary emotional messes. You don't overthink every word someone said. You stop chasing approval and you start protecting your peace. And with less drama comes more clarity. You begin to see what really matters. You start choosing your emotional investments wisely. You see through fake friendships, manipulative behavior, and emotional games, not with anger, but with wisdom. You understand that not every invitation needs to be accepted. Not every opinion needs a response. Not every phone call needs to be returned immediately. You choose when and how to engage, and that brings a powerful sense of control over your own life. Clarity also helps you understand your needs better. You're more aware of your mental, emotional, and physical energy. You don't compromise your peace for someone else's convenience. You know that time is precious, and spending it in peace, even alone, is far more rewarding than being around chaos. Some people may call it cutting people off. But it's not about bitterness, it's about boundaries. And boundaries, especially in your later years, are not a wall to keep people out. They are a gate to protect your joy. So if you've stepped back from social circles that once drained you, or you've chosen solitude over superficial chatter, celebrate it. That's not loneliness, that's wisdom. That's clarity. That's emotional maturity. Reason 3, you become your own best friend. As we grow older, especially after 70, our priorities shift. The need to please others, to be constantly surrounded by company, begins to fade. What rises in its place is something much more meaningful, self-companionship. You begin to enjoy your own company more than ever before. Why? Because now you understand yourself in a way that younger you never could. You've lived through enough experiences to know what truly matters to you. You've learned your likes and dislikes, your strengths and flaws, and you've made peace with them. You no longer need someone else to complete you. You're already whole. Being your own best friend doesn't mean shutting people out. It means no longer depending on others for your happiness. It means waking up in the morning and feeling content without needing someone to check in on you. It means being able to sit in silence without feeling lonely because you've grown to love the person you're sitting with. You know how to comfort yourself when things go wrong. You've developed patience with your own thoughts, grace with your own mistakes, and compassion for your own journey. That's the kind of relationship most people spend a lifetime seeking from others, but few ever discover it within themselves. In your younger years, you may have leaned on friends for advice, support, or just to pass the time. But now, you've become wise enough to counsel yourself. You know when to rest, when to push forward, and when to simply be still. That kind of wisdom only comes with time, and it makes you your own most reliable companion. You also begin to treat yourself with more kindness. You stop criticizing every wrinkle or flaw and start appreciating the story behind each one. Every scar has meaning. Every gray hair carries wisdom. And you no longer need someone else to remind you of your worth because you see it every day. Becoming your own best friend is one of the most empowering gifts of growing older. It means you don't need to seek constant validation. It means you laugh at your own jokes, enjoy your own thoughts, and find comfort in your own presence. It also means that even when the world gets quiet, you're never truly alone because the one person who has walked with you through every step of life is still here. And they're stronger, wiser, and more loving than ever. So if you're spending more time with yourself these days, don't feel sad, feel grateful. You're not alone. You're in the company of someone who truly knows and loves you. Reason 4, you're not missing out, you're finally free. As we age, especially after 70, something powerful replaces that feeling, freedom. There was a time when we felt pressure to say yes to every invitation, attend every event, and keep up with everyone else's lives. We feared missing out on fun, on friendship, on memories. But the truth is, much of that came from a place of insecurity. We didn't want to feel left out. We didn't want to feel forgotten. But now, things are different. Now, you begin to realize that you're not missing out on anything. You're actually escaping the noise, the comparison, the pressure. You're not losing anything. You're gaining something invaluable, freedom from expectations. You no longer feel the need to keep up appearances or follow trends. You don't have to be in the loop about everything and everyone. You're free to create your own loop, a quiet, calm, joyful space that fits you. You start to see that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means being free to rest when you're tired, eat when you're hungry, sleep when you want, and think deeply without interruption. You don't have to explain your choices. You don't need approval. You realize that life isn't about being everywhere, it's about being here, fully present. And when you're not constantly pulled in different directions by obligations or social expectations, you can finally breathe. This freedom also means you're allowed to slow down, to savor your morning cup of tea, to take long walks without checking the time, to listen to your favorite music without needing anyone to like it too. It's the freedom to be unapologetically you. And here's the best part. The peace that comes from this freedom is deeper than any joy you once chased in social circles. It's the joy of being at home within yourself, of not feeling like you have to be anywhere else or anyone else. You're not missing out on anything because what others are chasing, you've already found. You found peace. You found clarity. You found the courage to walk your own path, even if it's quieter than most. So the next time someone suggests that you're missing out by not being part of every social event, remember this. You're not missing out. You're finally free. Reason 5. Time becomes sacred, not social. At a certain point in life, especially after 70, you stop viewing time as something to fill and start treating it as something to treasure. Time is no longer about catching up with everyone or staying busy for the sake of it. You've lived enough life to know that not every hour needs to be filled with noise. What once felt like free time now feels like sacred time, precious, quiet, intentional. In your younger years, time was often given away freely. You said yes to every call, every coffee meet, every obligation, sometimes even to people who didn't deserve your energy. But now you're more aware. You realize that your time isn't just minutes on a clock. It's life itself, and it's limited, which makes it invaluable. You start to spend your time differently. You prioritize things that truly nourish your soul, like reading, gardening, taking a slow walk in nature, or sitting quietly and listening to the birds. These moments might seem simple to others, but to you, they feel rich and full. You no longer feel the pressure to be social, just to pass the time. You realize that every hour is a chance to connect, not necessarily with others, but with yourself, your thoughts, your memories, and your faith. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you become more selective. You spend time with those who bring you peace, not pressure. You choose depth over distraction. And most importantly, you stop wasting time on what doesn't matter. Arguments, shallow conversations, gossip, or things that used to steal your joy. Time becomes sacred because you start living with intention. You know that each day is a gift, and you treat it like one. You don't rush through it. You don't let it slip away unnoticed. You find joy in slow, deliberate living. You take your morning slow. You savor your meals. You reflect on your past, not with regret, but with gratitude. You're no longer rushing to the next thing. You're fully present in the now. This sacred sense of time also helps you grow spiritually. You might find more meaning in prayer, meditation, or simply sitting in silence and feeling connected to something greater. You're not distracted by 100 voices anymore, which means you can finally hear your own. So while others might see a quiet life as empty, you know better. It's full of meaning, of calm, of clarity. Because after all the chaos of youth and middle age, you've finally learned how to spend your time on what truly matters. Reason 6. Independence is the ultimate joy. After 70, you begin to discover that one of the greatest joys in life isn't found in being surrounded by people. It's found in being self-reliant. Independence becomes more than just a practical skill. It becomes a source of deep pride, peace, and fulfillment. When you were younger, life was a web of responsibilities, expectations, and constant interactions. You depended on others for validation, support, and sometimes even identity. You may have thought that being alone was a weakness, or that needing people was simply a part of life. But now you realize something beautiful. You've grown into someone who can stand tall, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, without leaning on anyone else. You've become your own anchor. This kind of independence doesn't mean you reject companionship. It means you no longer need it to feel complete. You know how to cook for yourself, think for yourself, and find comfort in your own routines. There's something deeply satisfying in realizing that you can choose how to spend your time, how to solve your problems, and how to live on your terms. You're not waiting for someone to call or invite you out to feel alive. You're not relying on others to entertain or complete you. You've learned how to fill your own cup, how to create joy from simple things, a walk in the park, tending to your plants, organizing your space, or just enjoying the peace of your own thoughts. And here's the thing, this kind of joy is unshakable. When you're independent, you're no longer at the mercy of other people's moods, plans, or behaviors. You aren't tossed around by social drama, nor do you rely on others to feel fulfilled. You are centered, grounded, and secure in yourself. This independence also brings confidence. You start to trust yourself more, your decisions, your instincts, your pace. You know when to say yes and when to say no. You no longer compromise who you are to fit into someone else's life. The world may expect older people to be dependent, fragile, or needy, but you defy that. You show that aging can also mean strengthening. It can mean rising into your power. So if you're living life quietly on your own terms, finding happiness in the simplicity of your independence, don't let anyone make you feel like you're missing something. You've found what many never do, the freedom and joy of being fully, completely yourself. As we've explored today, life after 70 is a time to embrace independence and self-discovery. You don't need friends, not because you've outgrown the need for connection, but because you've learned that the greatest joy and peace come from within. True happiness doesn't come from being surrounded by others, but from finding contentment and strength within yourself. You've learned to live without the drama, to savor your time as something sacred, and to treat yourself with the kindness and understanding you once sought from others. Your independence isn't about isolation, it's about empowerment. It's about realizing that the person who's been with you through every challenge is the best companion you could ever have. So if you find yourself embracing a quieter life, don't see it as a loss. See it as a beautiful opportunity to become your own best friend, to cultivate your inner peace, and to live with purpose and clarity. Life after 70 is a time to truly shine, not because of the world around you, but because of the incredible person you've become. Thank you for watching. May you find the peace and joy that comes with embracing your independence.